Welcome, Jon.
Yes, glad to be here.
I know they tend to fall down.
I know this has to stay up.
Yeah.
And this can go down.
Thank you for arranging our furniture for us and being so lovely.
Exactly.
I was watching an interview that Chuck Lorre actually did, sort of reflecting on the show, and he talked about your first audition, or I think it was when you went to network.
Yes.
And he said, quote, "You were head and shoulders above all the other actors, and you were perfection and remain to be, still are perfection." Do you remember the audition? Do you still remember going in?
I remember going in because auditioning for a sitcom is a very laborious process.
Oh my gosh, for network, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. First you audition for the casting director, then you audition for the producer, then you've probably got a meeting with another actor on the show, and in my case, Charlie and I ended up reading for Chuck, although Charlie already had the job, and then you have to go to the studio, and then the studio takes you to the network. So this is a 5-stage process.
And you just don't want someone to say, "I hate that person."
Yes, and any
basically that's all.
Exactly, any one of those stages, you could be gone. And in fact, they're looking to get rid of people because the network doesn't want to see 80 people; they just want to see 2 or 3. So it's a succession of flaming hoops, and so in my case, it was weird because Chuck Lorre is a notoriously generous laugher. He just, he's great to have around in readings and when you're performing.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a and it doesn't matter that he's read it before. He enjoys it in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's great for actors. But in my audition, silence, absolutely nothing from Chuck Lorre, and he was just looking like that during it, and I was like, oh crap.
And you could see it out of the corner of your eye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And nothing. That was during my very first audition with him. That was not with Charlie. Then when I got to audition with Charlie, he let loose. And I asked him later why that happened, and he said because the first time you were the first guy who'd done it right ever, and I was kind of in shock.
Wow. Wow. And now that the second incarnation, what I call the second incarnation of the show, the Ashton years, how do you think he brought a fresh take to the show?
He's fearless. Oh my gosh! When they pitched him the idea of this billionaire who's a little bit nuts and walks around the house naked, and he instead of being scared of that, he just welcomed all of it. And he was thrown into this situation where it was incredibly high profile. I mean, his first episode was the biggest rating the show ever got. It got football size ratings.
And hey,
massive.
He was naked on the show for a change.
And he was naked. Yes, exactly. It was
I
great.
remember that.
It was great, and I didn't have to be naked that particular episode. It could just be Ashton Kutcher.
You're kissing him this season on the show.
Yes, I'm kissing him. We actually kissed once before.
Okay. Are the lips soft? Explain. Are they good?
No, he's a good kisser. There's a reason he's with Mila Kunis. There's a reason that she digs the man. He's a good kisser. He is careful about his breath, which is which I appreciate.
So neither of you ate onions at craft services?
No,
we were
all
considerate.
No, what was funny was it was actually a very sweet scene. So
does that make it more awkward though?
No,
okay.
I think it's nice. It's you'll see in the show. It ends up what happens is Alan has been married twice before, but both of them are not the greatest circumstances. So he's never had the wedding he always dreamed of.
What is the wedding of a man's dreams in real life?
In real life? Well, it changes with every man.
Okay.
It's not like women. Some women dream of the destination thing. Some women want the big, huge craziness, the Kardashian style.
I always figure men just want it over with. Whatever you want, honey.
Whatever you want, honey.
And then.
Well, yeah, men don't have the expectations.
Yeah.
This isn't considered that moment that has to be perfect in their lives. I don't think. So men, I think, want it to be fun, and they don't want. I think the biggest thing they don't want is they don't want their wives to freak out on the day and be miserable.
Right.
Because what happens so often, this is supposed to be the happiest day of your life, and for whatever set of reasons, you're miserable. So that's what they don't want.
Yes.
They want a time that's actually
want you to be
fun.
Happy. Yeah.
Within the boundaries of my mother's got to be there, or whatever. There's
Right.
always, some condition.
So you met your wife
Yes.
on the show. on 2.5 Men. Was that on the set? She did a set visit?
No, that is actually, well, I met her on the show I was working on at the time.
Okay.
It actually goes way back. It goes way back to like 1993.
Really?
Have you ever done the TCA, the Television Critics Association?
No.
At any rate, so I did an interview with her. This is, like 1993, something like that. And she was adorable. She was
she does what
newbie.
I do.
Yes, exactly. She was a newbie entertainment reporter for Fox.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, she's great. And she interviewed me, and we had a fun interview, but she was immune to my charm. It was not two ways at that point. So my life continued on. I got married, had a kid, I got divorced and moved, and I was driving to work one day at Warner Brothers about a year after my divorce was final, and I saw her walking out of her house, and I was like, oh, she's my neighbor. and so I left a little note saying, hey, I met you years and years and years ago. I'm your neighbor now. Here's my phone number and my pager and my...
I love that it was a pager.
I know.
You had to work a little harder back then because you couldn't just do the
exactly,
texting.
Exactly.
Do
So I left every possible way to communicate with me at that time. And she called me about a week later. She had been out of town when I left the note, and thankfully it hadn't blown away or something. And she called me and took me out to lunch. And
she took you out to lunch.
She took me out to lunch.
I like this.
She brought, for ladies, she brought gift certificates. She brought gift certificates for me to the car wash and to the local coffee place. And I was hers at that point.
This is what I'm doing wrong.
I'm telling
Jon,
you.
You have taught me. I got to bring coupons from now on.
Exactly. Coupons work.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Nikki. My pleasure.
This is a delight. I've wanted you to be in the studio. You're like my top 3, I would say,
Oh,
people I've
thank
wanted
you.
to have in the studio.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jon. Great having you here. Last season of 2.5 Men. Check it out.
And Hit by Lightning.
There
Check
you
it
go.
out.